Friends, good evening and welcome everyone for today's session on decoding section 194Q. So this is a new TDS section which is being introduced by Finance Act 2021, and there were few ambiguities, issues, concerns which has been to an extent resolved or clarified by a recent circular. So we just thought to have a session on that so that can throw some light on the new section and how the functioning of this section would be. Before start, would like to acknowledge the efforts of Harsha for preparing this PPT. The legends used ADB Asian Development Bank. Others are pretty similar to what we have seen before. RSE stands for Recognized Stock Exchange. The schema for the evening, the background, the analysis of section 194Q, other related provisions, the recent guidelines which were issued, the interplay of sections 194O, which is TDS for e-commerce operator, 194Q is the one which we'll be deliberating, and 206C1H, which is TCS on sale of goods, practical issues and the way forward. So background, as I said, Finance Act 2020 amended section 206C to provide that are specified. So there will be TCS on sale of goods at the rate of 0.1% on consideration received from buyer and previous year in excess of 50 lakhs. So there was a tax collection mechanism which was introduced by Finance Act 2020. As I said, the tax was collected at the time of receipt of consideration. So there were challenges that, okay, the collection of tax might get delayed because of delay in receipt of consideration, and tax was collected from the buyer of goods, correct, for whom it would be a purchase and it would be an expenses, not an income. So given this backdrop, again a new section was inserted by Finance Act 2021, which is 194Q, which has its effect from 1st July 2021, which says that a specified buyer of goods to deduct tax at the rate of 0.1% of purchase is made from a resident seller in excess of 50 lakh rupees. So here, whenever purchaser is purchasing the goods, at the time of making the payment of that goods or credit, whichever is earlier, he or she has to deduct TDS at the rate of 0.1%. There are conditions as to when the applicability would be. This is the extract of section 194Q. The analysis: who is responsible for deduction? A buyer who purchases goods of value more than 50 lakhs in a financial year from a single seller. So this is the condition for a buyer, and so there are two conditions: and whose total sales, gross receipts or turnover from the business carried on exceeds 10 crore during the financial year immediately preceding the financial year in which the goods are purchased. Here, friends, there are two conditions. The transaction value should be more than 50 lakhs, and the turnover in the preceding financial year for the buyer, not for the seller, but for the buyer, should be exceeding 10 crore rupees. Non-business rupees should not be included. Who is the deductee? The resident seller selling goods of value more than 50 lakhs. At what rate and on what amount the tax to be deducted? TDS should be deducted at the rate of 0.1%, as we have said, exceeding 50 lakhs. Say, for example, if the goods worth are 60 lakhs, TDS should be deducted on 60 minus 50, that is 10 lakh, 0.1% at the rate of 0.1% on 10 lakh rupees. When should tax be deducted? As I said, payment or credit. So whenever either invoice is being raised or payment is being received, whichever is earlier, the TDS incidence would be there. When is TDS not required to be deducted? In case of specified buyer is exempt. So in the circular, we'll see who are the specified buyers which are exempt from deducting this TDS. Second scenario, in case TDS is deductible under any for that particular transaction, if TDS is deductible, say under any other section, say section 194O. So in such a scenario, TDS would not be deducted under section 194Q. In case tax is collectible, it shows under section 206C, that is, if TCS is collected at the time of sales, then for that particular transaction, again, TDS need not be deducted under 194Q. So if TCS is already collected, then 194Q is not required. But TCS is not collected; it is applicable but still not collected. Then 194Q will have precedence over 206C1H. Lastly, when buyer is in its first year of incorporation, because obviously you can't calculate the preceding financial year's turnover of 10 crores being the first year of incorporation. So in this scenarios, TDS will not be required. Section 194 will be applicable even if payment is made in cash. So there is no bar as to any specified modes of payment, can be any mode. Consequence of failure to deduct, as we have seen for other TDS sections as well, friends, 1% per month for delay in deduction or 1.5% for delay in remittance in case there is no deduction being made. Penalty only if no deduction without genuine reasons. Again, in case there is a failure to deduct tax as per section 194Q, the assessee shall be disallowed 30% of the sum so allowable as a deduction. So there will be disallowance to an extent of 30% if TDS is not deducted by the purchaser. Again, if PAN is not provided, the TDS shall be at the rate of 5% in such a scenario. Regulatory compliance, TDS needs to be deducted and deposited by 7th of the next month. TDS return should be filed quarterly, like how we do for other TDS payments like rent, professional fees, along with that. And 26Q, this TDS needs to be filed. Certificate of deduction to be furnished in Form 16A. So, what were the recent guidelines, friends? Clarifications were issued by CBDT to remove difficulty in implementation. Who will be exempted? So, which all transactions would be exempted? Transactions, securities, and commodities which are traded through recognized stock exchange or cleared and settled by the recognized clearing corporation, including recognized stock exchange, or recognized clearing corporation located in IFSC. So, if the transactions are relating to these three, then there would not be any incidence of TDS under section 194Q. One more thing, transactions in electricity, renewable energy certificates, and energy saving certificates traded through registered power exchanges. So, your friends, if you see, more so it's transactions relating to exchanges or clearing corporations. Typically, there is no one-to-one contract between the buyers and sellers in such transactions, and that's why they have exempted such kind of transactions from the ambit of 194Q. How the calculation of threshold would be. So let us see, friends, the various examples as the section says. Transactions or the levy would be on or after 1/7/2021 and the threshold is of 50 lakhs. So now see various example and confirm how the threshold will work. Say on 2nd of April 2021, the invoice value is 25 lakh. 16th June invoice is 10 lakh. 4th of July invoice is 6 lakh. If you see in aggregate in the entire year, the threshold or the amount is not exceeding 50 lakhs, so no TDS under 194Q. Second example, 5 lakh on 2nd of April, 35 lakhs on 16th of June, 5 lakh on 4th of July, and 7 lakh on 19th of August. So here, friends, if we see till 1st of July, the turnover is, or rather the invoice value is 40. After 1st of July, on 4th of July, it exceeds 45, and on 19th, it exceeds 50 to an extent of 2 lakhs. So it becomes, aggregate becomes 52. Such a scenario, 2 lakh shall be liable for the purpose of deduction. On that 0.1%, 200 to be deducted on 19th August 2021. One more example, friends, 10 lakh is the on 2nd of April, 43 lakhs on 16th of June 2021. Here the transaction value has exceeded 50 lakhs before 1st July 2021, and after 1st July there is another 5 lakh of billing. In this scenario, even though transaction has exceeded 50 lakh rupees, but it is exceeding before 1/7/2021. In such a scenario, the TDS would not be applicable on the entire 10 plus 43, that is 53 lakhs. So it would not be applicable on the 3 lakhs, which is exceeding 50 lakhs. However, on the 5 lakhs, there would be TDS incidence. That is, on 5 lakh, you have to deduct TDS at 0.1%. Hope this is clear, friends. Another example, 7 lakh on 2nd of April, 13 lakh on 16th of June, 35 lakh on 4th of July, 4 lakh on 19th of August 2021. In such a scenario, now in the third billing of 35 lakh, it's exceeding 50 lakhs to the tune of 5 lakh rupees. So on 5 lakh, On 4th of July, there will be TDS incidence at the rate of 0.1%. Now on 19th August 2021, there will be TDS again on another 4 lakh at the rate of 0.1%. Next example, 10 lakh on 2nd of April, 16th of June 20 lakhs, 4th of July 20 lakhs, 19th August 2021, 10 lakh rupees. So here 50 lakhs is not exceeded till 4th of July. The section uses the word exceeding 50 lakhs. So till 4th of July, there would not be any TDS incidents. 19th of August, 10 lakh rupees, there will be incidents of TDS at the rate of 0.1%. Hope this is clear, friends. Adjustment of GST amount should not be included while deducting TDS. So unless only if at all it is indicated separately. If it is not indicated separately, on the entire amount it needs to be deducted. Example, taxable value 5 lakh, GST is 90,000, invoice total 5 lakh 90,000. Where it is specifically mentioned GST amount separately, then there would not be incidence of TDS. TDS would be there only on 5 lakh rupees. Purchase returns. Before purchase return happens, the tax must have already been deducted under section 194Q. If money is refunded against the purchaser, then the tax already be deducted shall be adjusted against the next purchase from the same seller. So in case of purchase returns, if already money is being refunded, the tax which is already deducted will be adjusted against the next purchase from the same seller. However, no adjustment is required if the purchase return is paid by the goods. So there is a purchase return and the seller has again given or replaced those goods with new goods. In such a scenario, no adjustment is required. Other miscellaneous points: whether non-resident buyers are required to deduct TDS under section 194Q. A non-resident whose purchase of goods from a resident seller is not effectively connected with the permanent establishment of such non-resident in India shall not be liable. So if at all a non-resident is having a P, permanent establishment in India, and such transaction of purchase and sale of goods is relating to that particular P, only in such a scenario, the TDS under section 194Q is viable. Apart from that, there are only in scenario where there is no effective connection of the transaction with the P, then there would not be any liability under section 194Q. When tax is to be deducted, if at all seller is a person who has whose income is exempt, say under Income Tax Act or any other act, in such a scenario 194Q is not applicable. So if a seller whose income is entirely exempt under Income Tax Act or say any other act like RBI Act or Asian Development Bank Act, in such a scenario TDS applicable would not be there. However, only a part of the income of the seller is exempt, section 194Q will still apply. So it has to be whole amount of income. Practical issues, friends. As we have seen, whether TDS is liable to be deducted on purchase for non-business purposes, the section does not bifurcate whether the purchase should be for business or for non-business. Then in such a scenario, even if at all it's for non-business purpose, still the purchaser has to deduct TDS. In case of branch transfer, whether TDS under section 194Q would be applicable, the answer is no, because 194Q specifically says buyer as well as seller. In such a scenario, both should be distinct person, and in case of branches, both are same. So TDS under section 194Q will not be applicable. Whether turnover of 10 crores should include GST, GST should not be included while calculating the turnover of 10 crores if GST is being separately mentioned in the invoicing being done by the buyer. What constitutes good? Goods again have not been defined in the Income Tax Act, but taking a reference from Sale of Goods and CGST Act, goods include any movable property excluding money or exchangeable claims or security or things attached to or forming part of land agreed to be saved before supply. Whether tax is deductible on entire advance, even if the GST component can be ascertained, as I said, friends, in the last example, that even though, say, for example, 1 lakh billing, which would happen after a few days, on which we know the TDS GST is 18%, that is 18,000, the 1 lakh plus 18,000, for which advance is received 50,000, say today. Even though we know 50,000 and the incidence of GST on that entire 1 lakh, and we can calculate GST in that 50,000. Still, in such a scenario, it is advisable not to do that and deduct 194Q TDS of 0.1% on the entire advance amount. Whether tax is deductible on purchase of software, there has been ruling given in the case of Tata Consultancy Service by the Honorable Supreme Court that CAN software, the software which is not specifically created or customized for any particular customer, can be regarded as goods. So a non-customized software would be regarded as goods. Hence, that there would be applicability of TDS under Section 194Q. Whether tax is deducted on purchase of intangible assets, again, there is no bifurcation whether goods will include any tangible or intangible goods. In such a scenario, yes, there would be TDS liability on intangible goods as well. The way forward, as we have seen, friends, earlier there was TCS provision 2061CH, which is still relevant or still operating, but that was a collection based levy. Now TDS under Section 194 is a deduction based levy. So now the burden is at the time of deduction. There were issues at the time of TCS because it was being collected only at the time of receipt of consideration, but now that is not the case. TDS under Section 194Q says invoice raised or payment received, whichever is earlier. So now that loophole is kind of being triggered. More clarity is required as to what will constitute goods for the purpose of Section 194Q. Again, on advance payments, there has to be a clarification whether if GST amount is ascertainable, still whether that needs to be excluded or included for the purpose of TDS deduction. And effectively connected. So for a non-resident, it's said only if at all it is effectively connected with PE of such non-resident, then only TDS under Section 194Q would be applicable. Now, when you see there is no again definition of what constitutes effective connection, whether even a nominal activities like facilitation for the purpose of purchase, whether that will fall within the ambit of effective connection. There is still an ambiguity on that. If these concerns are addressed properly, maybe in subsequent circular or notifications, then there would be wider adoption and of this section of TDS. So these were some of our thoughts, friends, on the TDS, the new section TDS 194Q. Thank you, friends.